Look around any modern office and you will see a quiet crisis. Millions of people are locked into a hollow routine, completely drained of energy, producing work that barely meets the standard. When we hit this wall of stagnation, we usually blame things outside our control. We tell ourselves we just lack the natural talent, the right genetics, or that we simply haven't caught a lucky break. But author Robert Greene argues something very different. The real threat isn't a lack of ability. We are actively being sabotaged by three invisible psychological traps, subtle counterforces that slowly push us toward a life of passivity. Achieving true mastery doesn't mean dominating the people around you or conquering nature. It means identifying these three traps and dismantling them so you can finally take control of your own fate. The first hurdle is the conformity trap. Almost from the moment you can speak, parents, peers, and society begin exerting a steady pressure. They steer you away from your strange, obsessive interests and toward career paths that are considered safe, respectable, or lucrative. Greene describes a seed of uniqueness planted inside you at birth. It has a natural, assertive energy. But as you grow, the powerful human desire to fit in wraps that seed in heavy layers of social expectation, burying your core identity. The only way to break out of this conformity is to discover what Greene calls your life's task. To find it, you have to look backward. You need to dig through your childhood memories to uncover the specific subjects or simple activities that provoked a visceral, endless curiosity in you long before the outside world intervened. Your first move toward mastery has to be completely inward. You cannot reach the heights of your field until you reconnect with that innate primitive force and actively tune out the noise of what everyone else expects you to do. Once you enter the workforce, you immediately face the money trap. It is incredibly easy to become addicted to a fat paycheck early in your career, but prioritizing that early income causes severe psychological damage. When you take a position just for the salary, you feel immense pressure to prove you are worth the money. You become terrified of making mistakes, which forces you to play it safe and permanently shuts down your ability to learn. The alternative is entering what Greene terms the ideal apprenticeship. In this phase, your singular, overriding goal is the transformation of your mind and character. You value deep observation and skill acquisition above any title or income. When Benjamin Franklin was a boy, he rejected his father's lucrative, comfortable candle-making business. Instead, he chose a much longer, harder apprenticeship in the highly volatile printing industry, strictly to maximize his own learning. Charles Darwin took a similar path with a self-directed apprenticeship in biology. He deliberately pushed himself far past his comfort zone, actively seeking out danger and difficulty in the field to measure his own progress, rather than taking a comfortable academic route. Practical, hard-won knowledge is the ultimate commodity. Sacrificing your immediate pay to immerse yourself in the deepest possible learning environment will pay dividends that far exceed any early salary. Even if you build your skills, you will eventually hit the naive trap. Countless passionate, highly skilled individuals are entirely derailed by the envy, resistance, and passive aggression of the people working right next to them. We operate with a naive perspective. We project our own logic and emotional desires onto toxic colleagues. When they act out, we are blindsided, and we react emotionally, dragging ourselves into endless, confusing political entanglements. To survive this, you have to develop social intelligence. This is the ability to read people completely objectively. You must learn to recognize the darker realities of human nature, like laziness and self-obsession, and view them as facts of life rather than personal attacks. Greene suggests acting like an anthropologist. Treat your workplace like an alien culture with its own strange, unspoken customs. Your job is simply to observe the dysfunctions and power dynamics, not to moralize about them or try to fix them. Scientist Temple Grandin mastered this kind of objective self-detachment. To improve her social intelligence, she systematically dissected her own past personal battles and negative events. By stripping away her emotional bias, she could clearly see the exact role she played in triggering those conflicts. Attaining this level of social intelligence is your primary defensive mechanism. Navigating the social environment smoothly is the only way to protect your time and preserve your emotional bandwidth for your actual craft. When you finally navigate these three traps, a profound internal shift occurs. You transform from someone who is reactive, scattered, and insecure into someone deeply disciplined and focused. By combining your primal calling, your rigorous skill acquisition, and your objective social detachment, you awaken what Greene calls the dimensional mind. With a dimensional mind, you no longer just understand the isolated rules of your field. You intuit the connections between them. You see the entire system, which gives you the power to bend conventions and shape reality to your own will. But reaching this state requires extreme patience. You have to be willing to sacrifice immediate gratification, keeping your eyes fixed 5 or 10 years down the road. The path to mastery begins today. Expectations of your parents, your peers, and society at large. Dig into your past and rediscover the one thing you were uniquely built to do.